Yeah, F1, right on.
What do you follow, Derek?
F1, UFC, pretty much exclusively at this point. Yeah.
Maybe it's just my exposure, but F1's getting more popular.
Favorite driver? That's tough, man. I'd probably say Hamilton. I want to see him win one more before he exits.
Okay. Are you talking about a season or a race?
No, I want him to win like the championship before he retires, because he's getting up there in age, but he's like one away from, I believe, the all-time record. It would be like,
I think he has it tied currently.
Yeah. So he would be like, it's like the equivalent of Ronnie Coleman in the Olympia, but like F1 version. So I think, and he was so close that year with Max.
Couldn't be any closer.
Dude, that was like the most movie level race I've ever seen.
Yeah. So people don't know, Hamilton had won something like 7 out of the last 8 or 9 years in terms of championships. And Verstappen and he were racing back and forth all season long. One would have the lead, the other would have the lead. And it came down to the last race. But more than that, it was like 3 laps left in the last race. There was a safety car. Max had newer tires, but Hamilton had the lead. So he was able to get, there was a question of, will he be able to hold this lead with the slower car, or will he be able to pass him with the newer tires? And Max won.
Yeah, and it was like so close. And typically in F1, you don't have a situation where it's like the last race where the outcome will be the like actual deciding factor on who's the winner of the whole season. It never happens like that typically. Right. So super exciting. And if anyone wanted an entry to F1, watching that season of Drive to Survive, I would say it's like a great start. I could talk about that. I'll try to move on because I know Taylor and Kyle aren't compelled. But Drive to Survive came out and F1 picked up a ton of fans. And then it was 1 or 2 years later that they had the most exciting season in F1 history. And so for new people like me, it was like, holy smokes, this is what F1 is like? Why didn't anyone tell me about this? And then you have years like last one where Max won like 23 out of 25 races. If that's not right, it's close.
Who's like that really young, like German Wunderkind racer? Is that Max Verstappen? Isn't there some really young guy who's like tearing it up? Or maybe he's not that young and I'm mixing it up.
They're all pretty young. That's the thing.
Yeah.
People used to die a lot in that sport, but apparently not anymore. Like,
they've gone woke.
They really have. They really have. You know, it's not the sport it once was. I was watching some like History Channel documentary about the percentage of drivers who used to die, and it was like legitimately like a concern. It wasn't like, every 100 races someone dies. It's like, no, every 5th race someone explodes and fucking dies.
Yeah,
dude. I watch F1 and a little bit I watch MotoGP, which is like F1 for motorcycles. And you go into an F1 weekend thinking like, I hope Max wins or Lando or whoever your guy is. You go into a MotoGP weekend and you're like, I hope my favorite rider survives. Like, this is rough because these people die.
I don't think it might be the Isle of Man, but there's that one island where they do the motorcycle race that's just balls to the wall. I don't even know if it's like open class or something. Like, it seems like they're just riding some crazy bikes. If y'all haven't seen the footage, like listeners and Taylor and Derek or whoever, it's terrifying. They're driving through like cobblestone streets with, like intersections and concrete buildings on the sides. And they're going 200 miles per hour or something like that. And every now and then they crash. And by every now and then, I mean every fucking race. But there's footage of them hitting walls, like hitting like a Looney Tune character, hitting a brick wall, going full out on a race bike. It's so scary.
Isle of Man is wild. I'm pretty sure it's invite only, but I'm not positive about that. But these guys go super fast. I think 1 lap is 37 miles. Again, if that's not right, it's close. And a normal race course is held in like a big open spot. So you can slide into these gravel pits and hopefully not get too hurt. This race course, which isn't a race course, they just shut down the roads for a little while, has like stone walls right up next to the road. Right up. So these guys going as fast as they can around the corners are their margin of error is like 1.5 inches from a rock wall. And the kind with like
uneven rocks coming out, not a brick wall, that just as hard as a brick wall.
The worst thing you'd want to hit.
But worse, yeah. And it's obscured by like
they're covered in salt and acid.
They're covered in ivy. So these people will want to hit the ivy, but not the rocks it's growing on. This is like their margin of error. Ooh. And people, what do they average? A couple deaths a year, right?
I got into this like 3 years ago during the pandemic or something, and I quickly found that like I lost my appetite for it when I saw just how gruesome it was. At first, I thought it was like, yeah, look at man conquering a challenge, and then I was like, why do people do this? How much money is at stake? It's not that much money, right? Like it's
no. This is not the major league. This is just
like $50,000 or something is the guess I threw out there to win this thing. Maybe like I don't. This
is the most dangerous activity I've ever seen. Like I just watched a guy like mess a turn up, and I thought he was gonna like kind of fall into the grass because the perspective made it look like there was just grass on the other side in a field. No, it was like a near like sheer fall with grass on it, and so you see him like lose his motorcycle, and then he's just tumbling head over heels down a mountain.
Yeah, I was right. €84,000 is his first prize for the Isle of Man race. Yeah, I think it's just like bragging rights.
Tens of millions.
It's got to be bragging rights, and the people that compete in that have to be like the Alex Honnold's of motorcycling. Like you've got to be just pushing the limits, wanting that adrenaline so bad, and just having no fear. No,
you can have
Taylor's video around 55 seconds. I just watched a guy slide into the grass. You'd think it'd be okay. There's a cliff. He goes off the cliff. Where are they racing? Where there's cliffs?
Did you see him like his like Raggedy Andy ass just skinning as he's falling down?
Dude,
awful.
So there used to be a doctor who put he was like a lower level motorcycle racer, but he was like an ER surgeon. So they had a name for him, like the Flying Doc. And when someone got hurt, he would like get there faster than the big ambulances was. He was often the first on the scene. So because he was like racing with his little med kit. Well, he died doing that. Like just like all his patients did. He crashed and he's gone now.
His patients died too?
R.I.P.
Yes, I'm sure a lot of dude. He did a talk, like a TED talk. It was amazing. Like he's so casual about it. He's like, this guy lost his boot. Every time they lose their boot, there's still a foot in it. It's like, what? Why are you so chill? But okay.
Fuck. Yeah. God. And you know it would be too. Like your foot's really in those things good. And I bet they probably got super duper race boots.
They clamp on the side like ski boots.
Okay. I know mine like clamp down, but like it's probably something special to really lock them in, maybe. I don't know. All I know is that is the scariest thing I've ever seen. I think Taylor might be right. That might be the world's most dangerous hobby.
This is terrifying. What could be more dangerous than this? Like whoever's setting up the barricades to stop accidents in this is a sadistic monster. There is no give to any of these.
It's like a 4-inch pad in front of a stone wall. Like it doesn't do anything. It's 70.
Oh yeah, it's like the TSA of security here. It's just like, all right, throw a blanket over it, and hopefully they won't crack their head on this fucking wooden retaining wall that's overhanging the racetrack. And then I guess all the people who live on this road just can't go to the grocery store today.
Woody, have you been to an F1 race?
No, I haven't. I looked into it. It's pretty pricey. Like, and people get like, for example, in Vegas last year, a lot of people got screwed out of what they paid for. They shut down practice sessions and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like that's the worst one to pay to see, but it was great to watch on TV. That one,
sure. Slippery for some reason.
Yeah,
is it a good viewing experience? Like the
at F1?
Yeah, if you're sitting out there in the crowd, like, is it a good viewing experience?
I guess it depends how into the cars and the actual like experience of seeing this in real life is. Because once they pass the corner that you're at, you're kind of just watching your corner. You can't really watch what's happening. There's no like jumbotron where you can see the whole race. You actually see less than somebody at home when you're at the event. So, and even I went to the Texas one last year, and even their scoreboard was not necessarily updating in real time. So you're kind of watching your one corner of like 20 corners, and once they pass your corner and they're out of sight over there, you don't know what's going on. And the Jumbotron thing with the scores doesn't have any visual of the cars, and the scores are not updating. So you're almost like on, a lot of people wear a radio to hear the broadcast that people have at home while they watch, so they actually know what's going on.
Yeah.
So it really depends how into the cars and the drivers and how much of a fanatic you are. But even with like really good, expensive seats, there's a strong argument that you're way better off at home.
But you can kind of hear it better, Kyle.
Well, not really. I mean, it's louder.
They don't even have like a drone with a camera kind of feeding it up there.
You don't have a screen to watch the video that the drone would capture.
It's such an oversight.
And so like I was at the top of what would be considered like a pretty good seat at the top of the bleachers at turn 1 of the Austin one. And you don't even have service in your phone when you're in that kind of an area, because it's not off the grid, but it's just like really shitty service where you couldn't even watch a live stream while you were there anyways. So you're kind of just taking what you can get by looking at the
rude question. How much was a ticket? Did you have to pay for it, or were you somebody's VIP?
No, I paid. And it was, if I recall correctly, I can check. I don't exactly remember.
I'm going to guess 2,200. That's my guess.
Let's see.
For one turn?
What are you going to do? Fly you around from turn to turn, Taylor? You want to get in the car? You get in the car?
Yeah.
You want to ride shotgun for 2,200?
No,
that would be the best, dude. That would be the best.
As long as I get to pick my driver, I want to go with Max Verstappen or that other guy.
If I was running NASCAR, I'd open up the passenger seat and we put fans in there.
They'd be bullying me for throwing off the weight distribution.
How am I going to win with this guy?
I'm sorry. I didn't choose to win the fucking raffle.
You've got snacks.
I've got snacks.
They're spilling all over his panels.
The hotels all jack up the prices for F1. The tickets are like $2,000, and in my case, Jackie's into F1 also, so I'd be like $4,000 in tickets, and probably nearly $4,000 for the rest of it: the flights, the hotels, the rental car,
the food.
$8,000 to watch a race. Yeah.
Wait do you order like some nachos at the F1 race?
Oh my gosh!
They hit you up for those $45 nachos.
yeah. You're about right. That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's expensive at baseball, but it's not.
The craziest is the what's the big horse race? The Kentucky Derby. Did you see the food prices for like it was like as obscene as you can imagine, like $150 sliders. It was like wild. After they've already bent you over barrel.
Well, I mean, that's a very rich person thing.
I suppose so. So is F1. I don't think that there's so few sports that I think are better in person, unless you're in the highest of VIP levels. Even when I see like that,
hockey's better in person. That's true.
Hockey is excellent. It's probably number 1 or 2. It's up there. But football, when I see Taylor Swift up in that box at the Chiefs games, I'm like, she can't see anything. Like, she doesn't even know what happened. I saw what happened.
Yeah, but there's something to be said for like being in this community where you're all pulling in the same direction. Like that's
the smell. You haven't thought of the smell.
That's what being at a game is to me. Like everyone rooting for the same team.
Yeah, it is fun. If you're talking about just visual quality, though, like, yeah, it's way better to be at home for football.
They need better seating options for almost every single sport. I did see with that. I got that new VR headset, and I saw that the NBA is doing a thing where you can sit courtside, I guess, basically with your VR headset on. So I'm going to try that out. I don't give a shit about the NBA, but I want to see what it looks like to do that VR thing. The fidelity is so good.
The UFC one's got to be really good once they dial that in.
Yeah.
Yeah. When are they releasing that for you, UFC?
I don't know. If they'd have to do some sort of like special camera sitting there to capture the VR, because it's capturing 2 inputs, I'm guessing.
Can you just put the camera like on the outside of the ring, like on the top of it?
UFC has cameramen. I don't know if UFC has plans to do like a VR thing, but NBA has like a thing where they may have partnered with Meta or whatever it is to do it. I just saw it advertised last night. I'm going to try it out.
That's pretty cool.